Hi, it's John here from the Professional Nailschool and Beauty Academy, and today we've got a friend of mine's coming in who wants her infills done and new gel polish applied. So I'm going to do that for you, and at the same time hopefully we're going to run a little demonstration on film for you as well. So let's get on with it. Well, I've got a customer here who wants ready for her infill. So what we're basically going to do, we're going to get our electric file and we're just going to file off the gel polish. And if you don't use your electric file for anything other than doing this, it will save you a lot of time. So you just get your electric file and file off the gel polish off the nail. You just go round like this, and you can also blend down the infill line there as well at the same time. Pull the skin down at the sides and coming down to that side. You want to get a drill bit that's got a chamfered edge here, so that means that when you go up by the skin, it's not going to cut the skin. So there's one done. So now we've removed all the gel polish from off of the nails with the electric file, and we've just blended down the actual line that's caused when it's grown forward. If there's any little bits of acrylic, you can just fetch them off with your hand file like this if there's areas where you couldn't quite get to with the electric file. Now in this case we're going to shorten these nails because they are now grown out and they're a bit long. So we're going to take them down to, how's that round there, about like that, or do you want them shorter than that?
Try a little bit more. Just
a bit more.
To be safe.
So you ask your clients where you would like them taken down to, and then you will just obviously file them round into the shape that the client requests. Just get all the bits out from underneath, don't leave those under there. Just flick them up like this, get rid of them all. Make sure you shape, and you're happy with the shape. And then you just go along and just shape them all and shorten them all to that length. So now we've removed and shaped them, got the polish off and shaped them. So now we need to look at the cuticles. So what I'm going to do is get my cuticle pusher and I push back the cuticles here, behind where the new growth is. So you just go along the nails and just push all the cuticles back on the nails. There we go. Just like this. Just go along all your nails and just do this. Then once they're loose, we can just pull them forwards again so we can see what they look like. If there's any to clip off, we can just get our clippers and just clip off the excess cuticle. You can use these trimmers as well, just to go round like this and just slice off the dead skin, like that. And that'll just trim away any excess cuticle. Right, once we've done the cuticles, what we need to do is where the new growth is of the nail, we need just to remove any skin that may be on that area. So we're going to put our mandrel with the fine sanding band on, and we're going to start the thing up. We don't want it running fast, we want it running very slow, so I'm going to bring it right down until it's running as slow as I can possibly get it. Now I'm going to just go round the back where the new growth is, and I'm just going to go along like this, single strokes, and just take off any skin that may be growing on the actual nail plate. There's no need to apply any pressure at all, because we don't want to be damaging the natural nail. So we're just going to come round all the nails like this and get right into the edges. Just go along like this. We've already blended down the line with the other electric file when we was removing the gel polish. So that's all that done there. Just let me have a look at this side here. Now if there is any lifting of the product, what you need to do is to thin the lifting area down to the point where you can flick it off. Don't flick it off while it's still thick, because you will end up just moving the gap that's underneath further down the nail. So once we've done that, we can dust it off. We can just dehydrate the nail plate with a little bit of alcohol. That will just evaporate away very, very quickly. And then we just need to get our primer, using an acid primer here, and I'm just going to place that on the area that is the natural nail. So we don't need loads, just around the back area like this. And of course you have to do both hands. And then once you've done that, it's just a matter then of actually applying your acrylic. Right, so we're all ready to actually do our infills now. We've done all the nail prep and the cuticles and applied our primer. So I've got some powder here and I've got some liquid. So I'm just going to get my brush, I'm using a size 10 here. Take it off the tip of the brush, pick up some acrylic, place it 1 millimeter away from the cuticle, press down in here, and then just draw that out so that it fades to 0 on the rest of the nail. Just make absolutely certain there's none on the actual side walls. Keep them nice and clean, like that. And then you just work your way along all the nails, adding your infill section here. Press down and then draw it out. don't need to reinforce the fronts or anything like that because you've already got acrylic there. As your arch area moves forward on the nail, because that's where it is at the moment, as it moves forward, as the nail grows, you will probably need to drill that out and then reapply your arch so you maintain your structure of the nail. So you just work your way along. Right, I've applied all the acrylic for the infills now and that's setting, but we notice here we've got one nail that's missing, so we're going to do a nail repair on this. So we've done all the cuticle work, prepped all the surface, and we're now going to stick a tip on to this area here. So we just find a tip that's the right fit for it. I think we're going for a number 4 here. That's in the wrong place. So we're just going to come down, check it out for length and does it match the finger. Then I'm just going to just file in the edges to make sure that it's a nice fit within the side walls. Come down, roll forward. Yeah, that looks okay. Now get my glue, give it a shake so we know there's some glue on the brush. Then just drag the glue down there onto the edge like that. If you've got too much glue, just do that. Right, we're just going to bring it down now and line it up and stick it on. So now we're going to hold it here. This isn't an instant glue, it's quite a slow glue, so it does give you time to shift it just in case you haven't got it on exactly straight. So there, it's stuck on now. Make sure these 2 little corners, or the wings as I call them, are stuck down. I'm going to get a cotton bud and wipe off any excess glue onto the nail plate itself. And I'm going to cut it to length so we match it up to the others so we know we're going down to about here. And always remember that you can always cut more off but you can't put it back on. So now I'm just going to shape it here, here. So I'm just going to bring it into the shape to match the others now. So I'll just round the top off a little bit, and at the moment I can see it's looking a little bit on the long side, so once I've roughly got the shape I'm actually going to shorten it a little bit just to match these others here. So let's just take that down a bit there, come in again, and then we just go round. Flick out the bits from underneath so you can see very clearly what the actual shape is that you're doing. You can put your file underneath it like this to see the shape, and then you can just adjust it to where you want it to be. So that's the tip stuck on. So now I'm just going to get the block, blend out, go over the top to remove all the shine off the tip. Get all the bits out from underneath. And get the electric file up to about number 3. Bring the fine sanding band on and then just blend down some of that line, working your way along. Just pulling it towards you like this. And that will just take some of the bulk out of that line. You can blend it away completely if you want to. But because we're putting a gel polish on after, there's no need to do that. So I'll just do that now. I'll just make sure these corners are okay. Just check that the shape is coming off the side wall in a nice straight line. Go down this side a little bit. Just check your end again. We don't, because it's a round top, we don't want any like flat spots on it. So there's our tip applied. So now I'm going to apply acrylic to this nail that I've just stuck on. So I'm just going to put the primer on the natural nail section of the nail. Get my acrylic brush, just take some off the tip, powder, pick up my powder on the one side of the brush only, place it near to the back with a 1mm gap. Press down in the gap 1, 2, 3, 4 and then brush out the whole length of the nail. As I come off the nail, wipe onto your pad which is just in front of you. Just make sure there's no build up in the sides, don't let that happen, or around the back. Now I'm going to build my arch. So I'm going to place it about here. I'm going to leave it now for 5 or 6 seconds while what we call this polymerization, it's actually spreading out and it's going into a very smooth ball and it's actually setting at the same time. So now I'm going to brush from the back, and because I let it set a bit, it's left it thicker in the center. Now I'm going to look at the end. So I'm just going to get some, place it on the very tip, just use my tip of my brush to pat that out and then brush backwards into the nail. If you get me hanging over the side, just scrape it off like that and remove it off your brush. You want to get that on as smooth as you can. Now we need to go back to the back and just do the section again at the back. Leave the 1mm gap, 1, 2, 3, 4, brush it out. Don't leave it longer than 4 because you'll find that it will have set to the point where you can't brush it out. So examine it from the side just to make sure that you've got your arch in the right place. Maybe sometimes you might need to just add a little bit more to somewhere. I didn't need to, I'm just showing you here. You might need to add a little bit like that just to even it out. So there's your tip and your acrylic done. Just make sure there's no build up anywhere on the skin. Before you move to your next nail, if you're doing a full set, check there's no acrylic under here setting away on you. So now we've done all the infills. We can see straight away that these nails are now pretty much finished really, but I'm just going to go over with my file like this just to make sure that any ridge lines that are made where the infill overlapped onto the nail that was already there is now gone. So I'm just going to smooth this out, and I'm using quite long strokes with the file so that I'm not putting any flat marks onto the top of the thing. In other words, I'm not doing this on the top. Nice long strokes with the file. Now I'm going on to the smooth side like that. Then I'm going to get my block, applying quite a lot of pressure. I'm going to just go over the top like this, round the sides a bit. When you go round the back, just be a little bit careful, you don't want to rag up the client's skin. Use the corners of your block like this into the corners, like that. Just check your shape again, I can see it wasn't quite there. Now I'm just going to go down, dust it off, and when you feel it now, it should be absolutely completely smooth. And if you want to do a test to see if this is ready for gel polish, if you get yourself some nail white liquid or isopropyl, you can just wet it, use your light here, wet over the top, and using the reflection from the light, you should be able to see if there's any areas that need further filing. It's a really good way of testing it. Right, so all the nails have now been finished, infills done, smoothed over, wet test done to make sure that they're okay, and we're going to start putting our gel polish on. So first of all, I just need my base coat. Some people don't use a base coat on acrylics. I sort of do, but I mean it's up to you entirely. So I'm just going to get base coat, just put it on to the nail, smooth it out. I'm just going to go along all the 4 fingers like this. Base coat. Don't get it on the skin, obviously. One more. If you've done your nail prep properly on the acrylic, it should go on really, really smooth. I'm using the Premier gel here, which does self-level. And we can see that it's just levelling out now. You can turn the hand over a few seconds if your gel's a bit cold, and it's sort of like not flowing as well as it will if it's a bit warmer. Let's have a look at it. Use your light, use your reflections to see if it's smooth. Pop that into the lamp, and I'm going to put that on for 30 seconds. While that's in, you'll be doing your other hand. And you just go along like that. So let's put the gel on, base coat. Watch you don't get it on the skin. Don't forget to cap the end. Down the sides. Always hold the hand when you're working on the hand. Don't put it flat on the table and then try to apply your polish. Just keep the hand up in the air like this. If you log on to Premier Gel and then set yourself up an account, they will send you offers when they've got one on, which is usually seems to be every week at the moment. But a couple of weekends ago they had all gels $1.99, which was like really cheap. So the full price is $9.98. So when that light's gone out, you can again, if you want to, you can do that just to let it level out a bit. But I don't need to. I can see it already. Don't let the fingers touch it. So give us that hand out. Put that hand in. Always make sure this hand is above the height of the other hand, so that you always can lift it up and move it around. So again, I'm just going to place that on. Now I've got the colour, and I'm just going to. You can hold the thing in your hand if you want to. The jar, the pottage of the bottle. Or you can leave it on the side like that. So just brush this on. Don't try and get full colour saturation in your first application. Okay. Don't forget the end. Get as close as you can to the cuticle, but don't go over the cuticle, obviously, because that then will be on the skin. Then you'll have problems with it lifting. Just smooth it out. And it does self-level, so it's a very nice polish to use. So you can see I haven't gone for full colour saturation, which would mean that I would have to put it on too thick, and then it might not cure all the way through. So keep it thin. Roll the finger round so so you can see that other edge quite clearly. Drag it out. And you can see it self-levels, so let's pop that one in. And then I'm going to apply it to the other hand. So I'm now ready to apply my second layer. And you can see we've got a lot more colour saturation now with my second layer. Right, so once you've done that, it needs to go in the lamp now. And then we'll do the other hand. So what we need to do now is just apply the top coat. You must make sure the top coat covers all the area of the gel polish colour. And this is a non-sticky top coat, so when it's dry, it's no sticky residue layer to remove. And these are the best top coats to use now. Most people are now using non-sticky top coats. Get a cap at the end. Right, so that one goes in. And then repeat on the other hand. Right, the hands come out the lamp now, so those are ready to apply your cuticle oil, but now we've got to do the thumbs. So when they come out, they are dry, there's no sticky layer. So again, we're just going to get our base coat. As I said, you don't have to use the base coat on the, in fact we won't use it. You don't have to use it, you can go straight onto the actual nail. This one's called Prosecco Party, it's really nice. Just got to build it up. Make sure there's none on the skin. Just waiting for that light to go out. It's gone out yet? So put your fingers underneath and hold that light back. Okay? Right, before you go into the lamp, just make sure there is no gel gone onto the skin area. Or you can put that hand in as well, okay? And I'll just stick it on now. There. 30 seconds. So now we're going to go on with our second coat. And of course the colour saturation starts building up now. put a kind of like a gold plain colour underneath this, so that when you put this over the top, you know, it's a bit more dense in its colour. Put that one in, and let's put down for 30. So now we're going to place our top coat on. This top coat is really, really nice. It's quite thick in its consistency. So it levels out to a really nice, smooth surface. So let's pop that one in as well. Press the 60 button. So there the nails finished. All we've got to do now is put our cuticle oil round. So here's our cuticle oil, and I'm just going to put it all around the edges where the skin gets dried up with the chemicals like nail white liquids, acetone, anything like alcohol is going to dry up the skin. So we just reapply this. So have your other hand, right? Just apply it all the way around. And then we can just rub that into the skin. I try not to get it onto the top of the polish that I've just applied, if I can help it. So I think it smears it all up. And there we are. Yeah, beautiful nails done, look, there we go, lovely. Right, so that's everything that you need to do when a customer wants infills and then they want the nails repainted. Well, I hope that was useful for you, and if you've got any queries or questions, just leave them in the box below, or you can go onto our Facebook page and you can just leave me a message if there's any questions or queries that you may have about doing nails. I'm always here to help, so I'll say goodbye for now. See you again.